Good morning, Blue Lulus. How you doing? Let's take a big cleansing breath together. We can get through this, and we will do it. But the only way that we're going to do that is if we 100% acknowledge what's actually going on, and we look at it with clear and open eyes. And what's actually going on is that he is never leaving, okay? He's not going to leave. I know that my more discerning friends are not going to like me saying that. Yes, it is wild speculation for entertainment purposes only. TikTok, leave me alone. But look at what's happening and ask yourself truthfully if that man is ever going to walk out of the Casablanca and leave it up to us whether or not we want him to stay there. You know the truth about that. The Newark mayor has been released from custody, and it has now come out that he wasn't actually protesting at this ICE facility. He was invited there by them. They entrapped him to be in that position because he is the mayor of the place where this ICE facility is. And he asked to have a meeting there because he wanted to investigate whether or not there was cruel and unusual punishment occurring there. He had an appointment. They let him in, and then somebody from the inside said, hey, yeah, I'm definitely going to just arrest the mayor. Like, that was a setup. It was a setup to make people get mad and angry and to flood into the streets and get upset. All the while, Stephen Miller is saying that he wants to suspend habeas corpus. That is not a coincidence. Habeas corpus is a writ that ensures that you get to be seen before a judge in the event that you get arrested. It basically makes sure that if somebody says that you did something wrong, there's an arbitrator there to make sure that they're not making stuff up. They want to get rid of that at the same time as they are fueling people to get out into the streets, because the only time that it is allowed to suspend habeas corpus is during an invasion or an insurrection. And they're trying to make one. Square, circle, circle, square, circle, circle. What comes next? Let's use our pattern recognition. We need to stop pretending like all we need to do is to make it to 26, because we're going to have to get creative. He's not leaving. Laura Loomer came out yesterday. Yet again, she's really been in the spotlight a lot, but she's upset because the Joker has picked someone who doesn't have an active medical license as the Surgeon General. We really need a new nominee for U.S. Surgeon General. I know that this guy likes people who go on TV for some weird reason I will never understand. I still love him. But we can't have a pro-Rona vaccine Nepo appointee that's currently embroiled in medical malpractice cases and didn't go to medical school in the U.S. as the U.S. Surgeon General. She's now being accused of lying about her medical credentials. Yeah, she doesn't really have any. She used to have a medical license. She went to medical school. She went through 4 years of that, and then she went through like 3.5 years of her ENT surgical residency, and then she dropped out or quit. She did not complete any training. She's never had a board certification. She's not a surgeon or a real doctor, and she no longer has a license anymore. And that's the person that he wants to be in that position. But instead of just acknowledging that he picks people that he likes based on what they say on TV about him, she said this. This is arguably witchcraft. I want to know which of the Joker's geniuses chose a woman who literally talks to trees and spiritual mediums and doesn't even have an active medical license to be the U.S. Surgeon General. I would call her a witch doctor, but she doesn't even have a valid active medical license, so I'm not going to call her doctor. You have no idea how many texts I've received from doctors who are members of the Mansion of Legos in Bedminster who are like, WTF is this? Honestly, this is insane. I do not believe for 1 second that the Joker made this decision, and I refuse to believe it. Man, I want to study her so bad. Like, she gets so close to the point and then just like runs away every single time. But it did have me thinking. I was like, he really hasn't said very much today, considering all of the craziness that's happening right now. So I went on his Truth Social, and she might be right. There definitely is somebody else speaking for him. Like, you can see these texts. They're clearly him. Many trade deals in the hopper. All good, great ones. Cost down, no inflation. Very different from what the Fed and the fake news media were hoping for. Like, this is all very typical of him. The one up there, he's complaining about MSNBC. Like, yeah, we can recognize his style at this point. That's absolutely him, right? Here's some more. That's clearly him. We could recognize it. But then yesterday, after Stephen Miller got out and was talking about all the suspension of habeas corpus, all of a sudden his truths start looking like this. They have formulated paragraphs, and they are clearly like put into an AI prompt because they issue them out using the same consistent formatting while just randomly capitalizing words to make it seem like it's him. But like, this is clearly somebody who's pretending to tweet like him, where the other ones were obviously him. Like, you can tell stylistically that something has changed. And this is what all of his truths looked like yesterday. Or they were just reposting things like this. This looks almost like him. But you see that big long dash? He didn't do that. That is AI that makes those M dashes. That's one of those hallmarks, right? Like, this is somebody who put into AI make this sound like the Joker. Allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. Please, leave me alone. This is after he was noted to be falling asleep while the First Lady was giving a speech at the Mother's Day event for veterans. And he was falling asleep in the Oval Office while on the phone with leaders from the UK. You should look up the video. I think Becca did one. She's, oh, one of my favorites. I love her so much. But she did a video, and you can see the Vice Penguin in the back, like, looking suddenly alarmed because he can tell that the Joker has fallen asleep. He continues to publicly fall asleep. So we know that, like, whoever is making these decisions, it might not be him. And they are taking advantage of his failing mind and body. And that's a big deal. For real. Like, it's giving weekend at Bernie's. That was a lot. You doing okay? Another big cleansing breath. I hope you drink some yummy coffee. I hope you eat a yummy snack. And as always, keep your eyes up, keep your feet on the ground. I'll see you next time. Hang in there, okay? Ta-da!